r/the10thDentist. Electrical Morning 73 says, The Boys just isn't a good show. Season 1 was great. I liked season 2 as well. But the formula got stale real fast. I've never been one to just hate something because it's popular, and it honestly makes me cringe when I see people who clearly just hate something because it's popular, but this is different. Everybody loves this show. They act like it's some era-defining masterpiece of satire and norm-breaking, but it just isn't. It's what a 12-year-old would think is amazing. At its foundation, it actually could be a really good show. It has an interesting story, amazing actors, good costume design, and a nice budget. But the amount of crude shit they cram into it for seemingly no reason just gets so old. It's actually like the writers are all 12, and the writing process is haha what if we made this guy's dick explode XD yo wait, what if we had this girl who had big boobs, and she lactates everywhere XD no I got one, let's rip this guy in half, and then have naked guys all over the place jerking off, oh yeah that's good, it's just, I'm boring. The satire in the show isn't well written enough to even be classified as satire. There's no subtlety, it's just right there in your face. This is what we are critiquing. Do you get it? Do you get it? Cause this guy says things like this other real life guy and it's dumb. It's smart writing, I promise. Equate the level of satire in this show to somebody getting up on stage, putting on a mask of someone they don't like, and start dancing around, and saying guys look at me, I'm so and so and I'm stupid, XD and everybody eats it up. It's such a shame, because when the show actually takes itself seriously, it is really good, but that rarely ever happens, and you never get a full episode of it. The thing with shows like these is they're almost impossible to criticize. They're so unanimously loved that the fans will take any critique as a personal attack. Or the person criticizing is surely just offended by the show, or must be part of the group the show is making fun of. Nobody actually considers the possibility that maybe the show is just not that good, and that's why it's being criticized. Season 4 really was the last nail in the coffin for me. I found myself wondering how much of the budget was wasted on stupid sex jokes and gore that cold beans spent on IDK, actual pushing the story forward. Guys no, it's because it's satire. I promise the 20-minute sex fantasy scene was necessary because it's a commentary on how perverted the elite are. Yee. If you don't like it, you're just missing the point. No buddy, we got the point the first 20 times you made it. It just seems like the writers have a pen in one hand and their meat in the other, drooling, writing this weird garbage. And for the record, I'm not a Karen. I don't explicitly hate gore and sex and on the nose satire. I think it has its place in media and it can be done tastefully and add to a product. But when you can cut 99% of it straight out of the show and nothing would change, then it stops being tasteful and it starts becoming obvious that the writers just throw it in for shock value and headlines. That's my piece. Thanks for reading. Tom Gar says, See, I actually like the show and still agree. The satire is unsubtle and crude and the shock humor is lazy and formulaic. I guess it's the characters that keep me invested, but yeah, it's far from perfect. Berbera Beer says, This is why I like Gen V. The characters actually use their powers, instead of the 384,892,173th fight scene where Kimiko breaks someone's arm, or punches them in the face, and it's just so much more interesting. TB was good back when we had threatening villains, like Season 4 finale spoilers, Stormfront and Newman, and now it's just so damn stale. Speech SF says, I'm not 100% sure I'm tracking. You stated it was good back when it had threatening villains like in Season 4, but Season 4 just ended weeks ago. I do agree with the idea that the satire is not subtle, but I think that has more to do with real life becoming so absurd. It would have been funny if it didn't mirror real life politics so much. Zenla says, I feel the exact same. The amount of violence, gore, weird shit that has nothing to do with the plot going on is way too high. I tried so hard to like this show, so many people love, but it's just genuinely not for me. You explained things I dislike about it much better than I ever could. r/the10thDentist. Savvy Thesavage says, I stop most TV shows halfway through the episode. There was a post of someone who only watches half episodes, but that's not what I do. I'll still watch a full episode length, but I'll cut it halfway through whatever episode I want to watch last. I only do it for shows that have seasons and are fiction, mostly because they usually have cliffhangers. I also binge watch most of my TV. I'll give an example of what I do. Currently I'm watching Breaking Bad. I'll watch 3 or 4 episodes at a time. I start from the last half episode, and I'll watch 4 hours, or 4 episodes, worth of TV, but I'll stop halfway through the last episode. Why do I do such a thing? I never have a cliffhanger. The middle of episodes are usually boring too. It's easier for me to start and stop in the middle of something boring. I lose interest in the middle, not the end. Plus, it's easier for me to remember what happened when I last stopped watching, because I'm in the middle of an episode, and not at the end, where most short episode plots are wrapped up. I have a few exceptions. This isn't an end-all be-all rule, just something I do generally. If it's a multi-part episode I will still do it, but I typically don't stop watching halfway through one of those. I watch the multi-parts all the way through, then start again on the next set of typical episodes. For season endings and beginnings, it depends on if there's a cliffhanger. I'll watch half of the first episode of the next season if it relieves some anxiety. I don't do this for documentaries, but I tend to do it for reality TV. I do not watch non-completed series, with few exceptions, but if I were to watch weekly, I would not do this. Noodles Fluffy says, I think this is weird AF, but I get your reasoning. Look at a show like Lost, where every single episode ends in a cliffhanger, begging you to stay tuned for the next episode. But if you stop watching in the middle, you'll probably cut away at some B-plot. Arsenicaton04 says, but if you're binge watching there really isn't a cliffhanger? Or am I missing something? I mean, you do you, boo boo, but, yup. Definitely weird. Edit, I reread it, and I think I see what you mean. No cliffhanger for the next episode, when you can watch again, I get it now. Still weird, upvoted. DJD Tan says, what the frick? Factorok 519 says, what is wrong with you? When Asimdad says, this heavily resembles AT as I can relate, and I have been diagnosed. It just sounds like you need to have extreme interest to focus on something for a long period of time. Obviously I have a degree in Reddit medical school, so take my word with a grain of salt. Archidus says, I would say that makes sense and I agree, but I don't think I can say that with my whole being because I just binge intensely. I watched the entirety of Breaking Bad and El Camino in the span of 72 hours, to the point that cliffhangers didn't really make a difference to me. r/the10thDentist. Apprehensive to 6736 says, I believe AI will make us start preferring the real world more and more in the future, making us all more outgoing and social. AI is already starting to become increasingly similar to real videos, real text, and real pictures, making everything almost impossible to tell apart. Well, I think in 2 to 3 years the internet, because of that, will be a total mess. You won't be able to trust a single thing, not any comment on a post anywhere online, not even the post itself. You won't be able to trust a YouTuber. The videos could all just be automatically generated, especially easier videos like gameplay. Basically pretty much anything. Oh, and we can go even further. Movie companies can cheap out on actors' playtime by using AI generated scenes, which again, we pretty much won't be able to tell apart. All voice acting will be done by AI. I mean every single thing. I believe this whole mess will tire us. People might even protest. Oh, and the legal related problems this all could cause. It's insane. My mother has already been scammed by someone using my dad's AI generated voice. I mean, just imagine the future. We might even get tired of most technology as a whole, which is why I believe perhaps we'll become more outing creatures, prefer face-to-face talking etc. Now I'm Gen Z. Perhaps the future generations won't realize what's going on and might feel normal, that AI is just part of life, like us Gen Zs feel technology is a normal part of life. I don't know, but also very likely. Unicorn Ice says, I didn't want to talk to people face to face in the 90s. I ain't gonna start talking to them now. Alps Groundbreaking says, I can only speak for myself, but tech has made me want to stay away from computers and the internet a lot more. I want to reach a point in life now where I can spend as little time on the internet as possible. I'm saving up to take trips, to do other hobbies like diving, and I want to join a martial arts school. Haven't decided specifically which yet though. I hope it does make people more outgoing though. A lot of people seem really disconnected from reality, especially ever since the smartphone and social media boom. Cheer Still Life says, the real ones stay away. Or most of us will mediate between technology and reality. While there will be a minority of people who will always be freak with or without technology. And if they are already far from being regular humans now, they're only gonna get further away from living normal, happy lives. Worst part is, these latter type of people will be corporations' best customers. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.